Hello everyone and welcome back to Cedric's Weather channel. Today we are going to take a look at the latest from the models for the next couple of weeks, which will take us into the second week of May. Now firstly, I wanted to take a look I wanted to take a look at the UKV model for the next 5 days to see what the temperatures are going to be like. Now, as we've seen over the last couple of days, the temperatures have trended up and they're going to continue to trend up into the early part to the second part of next week. We're going to see exactly what's going to happen. So we'll get straight on with it. Also just wanted to address some comments that were saying something about me being stupid on the videos. I'm just going to put it out there right now. I'm not going to change. If you don't like it, don't watch. Leave a like on this video, everyone, if you do enjoy. So I know that we're doing alright with the content. Anyway. So this is the 2 minute temperatures for Monday. So as you can see, we're reaching widely in the mid to in the low 20s, 20 to 22 degrees quite widely. Apart from cooler as you head northwards and westwards, as you'd normally expect. But as we go into Tuesday, temperatures could be a little bit higher, 23 to 24 degrees, possibly an isolated 25 in East Yorkshire. As we move into Wednesday, even higher, possibly again, more widespread, 23 to 25 degrees, even northern Scotland reaching 22 degrees, so pretty mild. And then finally into Thursday, looks quite a warm, maybe even a hot day, to some of your standards. In the southwest corner, 28 to maybe even a 29, isolated 29 degree temperature being picked up there. And could that reach 30? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But the day before, the Wednesday, has been dropped in the temperatures. It was reaching 26 on this run before, now it's reaching 24. But for the Thursday, it's showing 28 to 29 degrees, which is pretty warm, to say the least. Now, next we'll have a look at the main model runs, because there is a change on the way. So, as we know, we've got high pressure to the south and the east, bringing up that wind from a south or southwesterly for the next couple of days. Into the early part of next week, we see this 10 degree ice firm move up from the south with the winds in from the south and southeast. It's pretty slack gradients, but we do just about drag in the 10 degree ice firm. A bit of uncertainty with the exact temperatures, but it does look to turn quite mild or maybe even warm in the south. Before, the trend is towards high pressure ridging towards Greenland and allowing cooler air to move in from the north and northeast. Now, will this happen or will it not? There is still a bit of uncertainty, but as you can see, we build heights towards Greenland and Iceland, and we do begin to drag the wind in from the more of a northeasterly. Remember that with this, it's quite dry. It's still quite warm for a time before it does clear away. And we actually get the -5 line into Scotland. The 0 degree line's clear in England. It does look quite dry, but it definitely will be a bit of a shock to the system, considering if we see these 20 degree temperatures, because look at the temperatures on the 5th of May, 10, 11 or 12. So a big change of pattern in terms of the temperatures from the GFS. Now, as you go on, we do see high pressure ridges back in, bringing some slightly warmer air or milder air in once again, before we do see another attempt at bringing in low pressure off the Atlantic. Doesn't really happen, but it does again stay quite cool and showery, particularly further north. These aren't exactly mild air masses. You can see it's about 3 to 6 degrees below average, so a pretty big change from the GFS. But again, we'll have to see how things develop. But that ridging towards Greenland is definitely a trend within the model output today. If we have a look at the GEM next, you can see high pressure again to our south and east, bringing in the wind from a southerly or southeasterly into Wednesday and Thursday. We do actually bring up the 10 degree ice firm into central southern Britain with the GEM. Again, a bit of uncertainty with that. If we have a look at the 2 metre temperatures being shown by the GEM, 25 to 26 degrees being shown quite widely. If we do have a look at the previous run, it's about the same. So 25, 26 degrees, probably the max. Maybe the UKV is overdoing it slightly, but again, those temperatures reaching 28 and 29 will be quite regional and will vary from place to place. 5 miles away, it could be 24, and 5 miles the other way, it could be like 27. So there's going to be some regional variations, depending on exact air mass. Now, if we have a look further on, so through Friday and Saturday, it is turning slightly cooler, but again, it's still above average, still maybe even reaching 20 degrees. in the south. With the GEM, it actually extends the warm spell and brings the 10 degree ice firm to the south of southern central belt of northern Scotland. So we actually see the warm air stick around, which keeps temperatures in the low to mid 20s for many of us, even by the 3rd of May. But again, we do see that ridging towards Greenland and more of a north or northwesterly influence beginning to take over. So we change into more cooler or slightly cooler than average air masses. Bit of a cold pool of air going into Eastern Europe there, as you can see, courtesy of this high pressure towards Greenland. And we're under it as usual. We're blocking it off, and we're sending all the cold air into Eastern Europe. But again, remember the cold pool is reducing at this time of year. We are losing the strength of the cold pool, so wouldn't expect too much with that. And if we compare it to the 12Z run, very similar trend, winds in from the north or northeast, with that cooler air masses moving in for a time. But again, there's not much difference between the two. We do build that high pressure towards Greenland, but it does topple away in the longer term of this run and returns the winds from a southerly or southwesterly. If we have a look finally at the ECMWF, very similar trend for the next few days. Does it drag the 10 degrees firm in? Just about into that far southwest corner on Wednesday. Could elevate the temperatures to maybe 25 or 26 degrees in the southwest. Before we do see cooler air masses arrive quite quickly, even by day 5 into northwest Scotland. You can see there's a bit of a cooler push of air. Then we get a proper northwesterly to northerly as high pressure ridges in the Atlantic, bringing in the winds from a north or northwesterly direction by as early as Saturday the 3rd and Sunday the 4th. So bringing in some cooler air masses. The -5 line gets into Scotland by day 10, and you can see by the 6th of May we are into a proper northeasterly blast with the -5 line into Scotland there. So definitely below average temperatures are favoured at that point. If we have a look at the GFS runs for London today, we'll have a look at London today. You can see we are going well above average with the upper temperatures till around the 3rd of May. Before we do see a drop from some of the runs, again a bit of uncertainty on how cool or how some of these cold runs could be. Remember, you've got to consider the time of year. Cold in May is like 10 to 12 degrees, maybe a little bit higher as well, 14 or 15 in the south. In midwinter, we're talking about 0 and negative temperatures, but because of the time of year, we're saying about 12 or 13 degrees on average. But you can see these runs are going to around to slightly below average into that second week of May, but again, it's a long way off and is uncertain. The rain spikes do pick up as well. The precipitation spikes increase as we go into that second week, suggesting it might turn slightly more unsettled. But again, we've seen this happen before. The pattern of it turning unsettled quickly withers away within the models as it gets closer to the time. So we'll just have to wait and see. If we have a look at the ECM run by comparison on the midnight run, very similar trend. We are above average at the moment. Then it's going to turn cooler than average possibly. It's way above average, maybe reaching the high mid-20s there. If we go to the midnight run and have a look at the temperatures, at London they're peaking around 23 to 24, and I expect them to be around 26 because it's a lower res model than what you'd expect at the surface. It's hard to measure regional differences with these models. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. Found today's video informative and helpful. Consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I do appreciate your continued support. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.